If you're an FRS member and you're in drop, your drop payout may be one of the largest lump sums that you've ever had to make a decision about. And here's the problem: a lot of people treat this money as an afterthought. But your drop payout is not an afterthought. This is part of your retirement plan. And if it's handled the wrong way, this could create unnecessary taxes, reduce your future income, limit your flexibility. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 drop payout mistakes that can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. And more importantly, I'm going to explain what to think about instead. So, if you're an FRS member trying to make sense of drop, pension decisions, retirement income, and taxes, make sure you subscribe to the channel because that's exactly what we talk about here. When you exit drop, the question usually is, what do I do with this money? Do I take it as a lump sum? Do I roll it over? Do I use it to pay off debt? Do I invest it? Do I use it for income? And those are all fair questions, but they're not the first question you need to ask. The better first question is, what does this money need to do for me? Because your drop payout should not be handled in isolation. It needs to support your retirement income plan, your tax plan, your cash needs, and the lifestyle that you want to have in retirement. This is where the real planning happens. The first mistake I see is cashing out the drop payout without spending too much of it too quickly. And I understand why this happens, right? You worked for decades, you may be retiring, you may finally have access to this large sum of money. Maybe you want to use it to pay off debt, remodel the house, buy a car, take a trip. Just enjoy some of the money that you've worked so hard for. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying your money. The mistake is spending it before you know whether you're going to need it in retirement. Because as we all know, once that money is spent, it's gone. And if you take a large cash distribution, this is also going to create a large tax bill. So before you decide what to spend, sit down and ask yourself, do I need this money to support my retirement income plan? Right? Start by looking at your guaranteed income. This usually means your pension, your Social Security. So, what will those two income sources cover, right? Are they going to cover your basic living expenses? If the answer is yes, then your drop payout may be used for more flexibility. Think travel, emergencies, home projects, future healthcare costs, inflation protection, or even using it for long-term growth. But if the answer is no, then part of your drop payout may need to help create income for you in retirement. That income could start right away in retirement. It could be money you use later, or maybe you just even use it as needed along the way. Either way, the money needs a purpose before it gets spent. So the goal is not to avoid enjoying your money. The goal is to make sure you don't accidentally spend money that your future self may need. The second mistake is assuming the rollover is a strategy. A lot of FRS members know they don't want to take the whole drop payout in cash. So they say, I'm going to roll it into an IRA, I'm going to roll it into deferred comp. And that might be the best move. But a rollover is not the plan. The first real question needs to be, what happens after the rollover? How should this money be invested? How much should stay liquid? How should this be used for income? How much should be invested for future growth? And this is where people get stuck. They roll the money into an IRA and then it sits in cash. Or it gets invested in the same way as their old retirement account. It might get invested too aggressively for money they may need soon, or too conservatively for money that they may not need to touch for 5 or 10 years. That's why I like to think about drop in different buckets, right? We may need a discretionary income bucket. This money is designed to help create retirement income either now or later. You may need a liquid bucket, right? This is money available for emergencies, short-term needs, so that you're not forced to sell investments at the wrong time. You may need a growth bucket, right? This money is money that you don't need right now, so it can stay invested for longer. This is going to help offset inflation over time. The important part is that that bucket should be invested according to its purpose. So, money you need soon should not be treated the same as money that you're not going to touch for 15 years. That is where the drop decision becomes more than just paperwork. It becomes part of your retirement income strategy. The third mistake I see is ignoring taxes and future required minimum distributions. Now, this is a big one. Your drop payout may feel like one big number today, but how you take it, roll it over, how you withdraw from it later can make a big difference in your tax plan. So, if you take the money directly, there's most likely going to be some mandatory tax withholding. And of course, that distribution is going to be taxable. Now, if you roll it into an IRA or deferred comp, you may defer the taxes into the future. Now, that doesn't mean it's tax free. It just means we're deferring it into the future. And that means that money that we take out later is still going to be taxed as ordinary income. And this is where required minimum distributions come into play. This matters because many FRS retirees, you already have a large amount of taxable income from your pension and your Social Security. So by the time you add up drop, deferred comp, or a 403B, now you may have a lot more taxable income in retirement than you were thinking you would. So if your drop gets rolled into an IRA, you may be building a larger tax bucket that has to be managed carefully. This doesn't mean the rollover is bad. It just means that we need to think beyond this 1 year. So you're going to want to ask yourself, is this going to create too much taxable income for me later? Should some of this money be used before I hit my RMD age? Should Roth conversions be considered as part of my strategy? How will withdrawals affect my tax bracket? Could this impact Medicare premiums later? These are questions that often get missed when people only focus on avoiding taxes today. But the goal is not just to reduce taxes this year. The goal is to create a smart tax income plan over time. So, what should you do instead? So, before making a drop payout decision, walk through a simple decision tree. First, look at your guaranteed income. How much will you receive from your FRS pension and from Social Security? And then ask yourself, will those two income sources cover your basic living expenses? This first question is going to help drive everything else. So if yes, your pension and Social Security is going to cover your basic living expenses, then you may not need your drop payout to cover or to create monthly income now. This means you can use it for flexibility. That means you could use it for emergencies, discretionary spending, inflation protection, long-term growth. Now, if the answer is no, then part of your drop payout or your deferred comp may need to be allocated to an income bucket. And then from there, we need to decide how much should stay liquid. How much should be positioned for income? Do we need that income every single month? Do we need this income just periodically? And then we can decide how much to have invested for growth. We also want to think through taxes, not just taxes today, but taxes over the next 10, 15, 20 years. So thinking through future withdrawals, required minimum distributions, Social Security, how your pension is going to impact taxes. This is why drop decisions should not be made in a vacuum. It needs to fit into your full retirement picture. This is how you go from guessing to making a thoughtful decision. Now, the 3 drop payout mistakes to avoid are mistake number 1, cashing it out and then spending too much of it right away. You may create unnecessary taxes and reduce the money available to you for future income. Mistake number two is rolling it over without a plan. Now, a rollover may be appropriate, but the money still needs to be organized based on what it needs to do for you in your retirement income plan. Mistake number three, ignoring taxes and RMDs, especially until the last minute. Tax deferral can be helpful, but you need to understand the long term impact of taxable withdrawals, required distributions, and how this money fits in with your other income. The big takeaway is this: your drop payout needs a job. It should support your retirement plan, the one you actually want to live. So, if you're thinking about retiring the next few years and you're starting to think about those payout decisions, I'm hosting a webinar on Wednesday, July 29th called Drop Decisions. And I'm going to be offering two sessions that day, one at noon and one at 6 p.m. Eastern. In this webinar, I'm going to walk through the major decisions FRS members need to think through before exiting Drop. We're going to cover payout options in more detail, rollover considerations, income planning, taxes, how your drop money fits into your bigger retirement picture. You can register by clicking on the link in the description box. I'll also include a link for our FRS retirement checklist. This helps you get organized before you start making any major decisions about your retirement. Your drop payout is a one-time opportunity, and the decision you make with that money can impact your retirement for the rest of your life. So before you cash it out, roll it over, invest it, sit down and ask yourself, what does this money need to do for me? That one question is going to help you avoid costly mistakes and is going to help you make a decision that supports the life that you've worked so hard to build. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos on retirement planning, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.